So we are going to be moving on to talking about some Twitch news and drama and controversies. We do have Csharpfritz join us, C-Sharp join us. So let me get him on. Let's see. Smooth transition. There we go. What's up, Jeff?
Smooth. Hey, how's it going? So good to see you. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. You missed some great conversations, but understandably.
Yeah. So I was asked not to participate in that part.
Anything you can say.
There's some really great press releases out there on the Microsoft site. I can tell you that a number of the pieces, topics that were discussed, there is confirmation about some of the things over there. Some of the emails that were sent to us as employees have been shared. So concerns, questions about Game Pass and Activision, it's answered over there.
Fair.
Keep an eye, and they expect this, like you guys were saying. They're expecting this to close in the next year, fiscal 23 for us, and that starts in July 22.
Gotcha. So we are going to be talking about the TV show streaming meta that has taken over Twitch by storm lately and has been getting streamers in trouble with. And I'm so glad to have Ello for this panel because I know that you were like super vocal about this issue, as was I, talking about, what the heck is going on, and really just like, dude, like, come on, really, right? Like, what is your guys' take on these streamers that are basically flagrantly, deliberately breaking copyright law and, Twitch TOS and getting themselves banned?
I guess I'll step in. I learned a lot last week about how people sort of perceive this. I think for some of us, we see this as like a long line of habitual rule breaking that is becoming sort of content within itself.
Yeah.
And incentivized as well. And then the other half of us see this as sort of a lone incident, and this is maybe a fight against DMCA, and it like that side of things, which I think is a little silly personally. Yeah. But there's a lot of history that goes into this. Like in a lot of ways, YouTube has laid the path for us in what is and isn't acceptable. And what I'm speaking about, obviously for some of us, is the Viacom YouTube lawsuit. I mean, what happened there is exactly what's happening here. And that specific lawsuit, you can look it up yourself, but it was the direct result of that was the automated copyright claim system. How many of you watch YouTube and you have a content creator you enjoy, and you hear them complain and bitch about the automated copyright system? How many times are people abusing that system? How much does it stifle creators of all sizes across the platform? Some creators believe the good times have ended. I mean, like, some small and medium-sized creators can't even make ends meet anymore because of that system. So what I'm trying to say here is, some people will ask the same question about Twitch. What happened? What happened with Twitch? It was so fun here at one point. And the answer is, well, we could have had nice things, but we habitually line crossed and caused people to have to come over and smack us on our nose every fucking time. Excuse my language. But like it's multifaceted though. It's complex. I personally hate the DMCA stuff. I really do.
Right.
I wish I could sit down and watch shows,
Right.
Go ahead, Jeff. I'm talking a lot.
Yeah, so I love the comments about the automated copyright strike system. Look, I publish archives of my stream over to YouTube. I'm one of those folks who made that dumb mistake of forgetting to unmute at the start of my stream. And I got a copyright strike for the muted audio on YouTube, okay? Like, there's definitely something a little bit out of control over there. Not gonna debate that at all. I completely agree. And you're right, Ello. Folks are abusing this, and they're not they're not being responsible with their content creation. This is something that we as content creators, you need to know all the things that you're bringing in and that you have licenses to that and you're allowed to do it. We already have facilities to watch TV with other folks using the watch party features. Okay, you're constrained to the Amazon Prime stuff. I get it. But it's out there. And to be perfectly frank, I'm not really a fan of watching TV with somebody else in that model. I want to see original content. If I wanted to watch and hang out with my friends and do that, I've got other places I can do that besides on Twitch. This is where I want to hear folks like this panel talking about cool things that are going on and playing games together and collaborating on things. The TV meta isn't a big deal for me. It's I agree, Ello. Folks are making a mistake here that they're trying to violate DMCA just so they can say they did.
That's interesting.
Well, Steve, sorry, I don't need to cut in. I just
no, it's okay. I don't know. I just feel like I'm having the same conversation, like almost like several years apart. Because I mean, I know I don't look as old as I actually am, but I started with podcasting back in 2005. I even have my current YouTube channel. It was a YouTube channel I created in 2005. So it's like we all, like, at the time knew DMCA was a thing, and we even saw, like, I lived through the Vivendi. Oh, not Vivendi, Viacom. Daily Show debacle on YouTube. And I didn't even realize that until this started to happen with people being banned, that this was actually a thing that people were doing and like watching like actual movies and TV shows and broadcasting them on their stage. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, do they not have, like, it's not even just like, it's common sense. Like, like, I don't know, I
mean, let's be clear, they know what they're doing. And the thing is, they're trying to avoid DMCA. They mirror the video so that it's not, right? So it's the other way. Yeah. So it's not supposed to be picked up automatically, right? They try to get around this, which, I interviewed with a lawyer about all this, and that could get you into even more trouble because you know you're breaking a law and you're trying to get around it. I mean, that's just like, that's like, you're asking for it, and you're asking for companies to come down on Twitch, the government to come down on Twitch for, this rampant problem that's happening. That's these big streamers, encouraging all these small streamers to do the same thing.
Sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I just want to be clear. And this is why, for me personally, this issue isn't about DMCA. I think we all know DMCA is wrong and you shouldn't do it, right? Yeah. This issue primarily, and this has been years ongoing, is this is what upsets me, because nobody will interact with me on this point that has a contract with Twitch, okay? But we're not all the same as creators on this platform, okay? And what I mean by that is some of us have exclusivity contracts that are signed for millions of dollars to keep talent from jumping over ship, like Tim the Tap Man and people like that, so they stay on this platform. Now, Twitch has $1 million investment in these people, correct? They are not going to ban and burn millions of dollars, their investment, no matter what they do. And what's been happening over the years is the people who have these contracts understand the sort of power that they have. And so to break the rules becomes content, right? They're incentivized. We call it a vacation. Whether they go somewhere or not is not what we're talking about. We're speaking in metaphors here, okay? A vacation, meaning they don't lose anything, right? In fact, they gain. They grow from this, right? And it's becoming more and more prevalent. So DMCA to me is just the next thing that they're poking and prodding and pushing. And the thing is they know that they're not going to be affected by it. They're going to get their 3-day ban. They're going to come right back. But the terms of service that is going to be enacted will punish all of us across the board. And we don't have the resources and connections that those streamers have at the top to be able to reach out to representatives, to be able to support ourselves financially. There's a lot that goes into that. So when I made my tweet about, the Twitch rich or, the working class, I'm not speaking, of course we're not the working class. All right. It's a metaphor.
Right.
It's a metaphor for the dichotomy on Twitch, and its parallels to capitalism, which I thought Hassan would find funny.
But Ello, I think you make a very good point there that the Twitch rich, those folks, they're being required to deliver a certain amount of hours each week online. So yeah,
play the ads every hour. Yeah,
play the ads every hour. But they are getting a vacation. They are within their contract. They are able to come back afterwards, and they're still getting paid their dollar figures, and that's okay. The other thing that happens that we can't underscore enough here is they get a big marketing bump because all of a sudden everybody's talking about, hey, streamer so-and-so over there, DMCA violation, and they're being banned for 3 days. And what happens when they come back from those 3 days? Everybody's tuning in to say, hey, what's so-and-so going to be talking about this time? I don't want to use any of their names because we know at least one of them did this for the promotion. Go ahead.
Well, because, I was looking at Pokimane's VODs, and you can see, how many views she gets on her VODs. Usually it's about 300 to 500,000 per video. Her return stream was like 2 million views. Like, I'm sure her viewership was, astronomical, like, doing a 12-hour celebration stream. And I want to talk about the contract point because, I've been seeing comments on, like, really only on TikTok, but I feel like this goes into kind of like the misleading messaging that these big streamers get, where it's like, oh my gosh, they have to stream X amount of hours, and that's so much work. So they just, they do react content. They just watch shows to fill their hours. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. Am I supposed to feel bad for these streamers who already are set for life, choosing to take on a contract to make more money, fulfilling an hourly requirement that's no more than a 9-to-5 job, and they have to resort to watching TV shows? No, I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad that they chose to make more millions of dollars and, give themselves a job. Like, I don't.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying though, Lowco, is like when you say they've already made it, it was surprising to me how a lot of people don't understand what we mean by that. It's not that they didn't work hard, they don't have a ton of subs. It doesn't mean like they didn't put in the work or anything like that. What we're saying is when we say they've made it, we mean specifically an exclusivity contract for millions of dollars that is outside the normal contractor contracts that we sign as streamers. Like, so when we say like they've made it, it's not like, oh, their sub count could go away and they'd be in trouble. Like, no, like they are making millions on millions.
Yeah.
That's
They've
not even
chosen to
including
do
their
that.
sub count or their tip count and all that stuff. Yeah.
Correct. Yes. Merchandise or anything like that.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like, oh yeah, like I don't understand the sort of like the everyone's kind of like like pitting the big streamers of having to be able to like have put in a certain amount of hours. Now you can argue how many hours that like what is fair and what is not, but it's like, boo-hoo, it's their job. Like, it's what they do to be able to make money. Now, granted, yes, they make an insane amount of money, that more than a lot of people. Like, I think it was like you need to be in the top 1% of Twitch in order to be able to make even the median household income in the United States.
Less
alone.
than that.
I'm
It's
in
like
Canada.
0.1%.
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy up there.
So yes, granted, they are making a ton of money, but it's also like, it's their job to stream. Sure. Like that's something that not a lot of people can be able to claim as something that that's their income. So if they're like them saying it's like, oh, we're bored, we don't have we have to come up with a bunch of different content. I will just watch TV or movies. There are ways you can do that without necessarily having to be able to break DMCA to do that. I don't know, like the thing that kind of bothers me, and like this is something that I think is definitely also on Twitch as well, is that they have a music and a TV film platform that they could easily integrate into Twitch, and yet for some reason we don't think so. That's another whole other argument in and of itself, but. There are ways to be able to, you can just literally have your cam on screen and basically be like, okay, I'm having this video or having this movie, this TV show up on screen. 3, 2, 1, play. Have a timer of where you are in that show. You can easily do that. You're not breaking, as long as there's no audio there other than just your reaction, and you can have people watch with you, or you can turn on a watch stream. Sure, the exclusive, whatever, but at least this way you could be able to watch whatever the heck you want to be able to watch. Now, there could be a whole thing that they're not allowed to stream anything else of like from Netflix, or like able to do that with Netflix or Hulu. That has to be specifically Amazon Prime. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like they like if they wanted to be able to be turned into a TV or film watching sort of stream, like just do audio, like you just do your own cam and web on. I like there's ways to do it without having to show it on stream, and I just don't like. It's common sense. It's like that's what bothers me the most, is that it's common sense, and that they're saying they're doing this to fight the DMCA. No, they're not.
No, they're not,
totally
and no one has
doing it.
said they are, except people defending them. The streamers aren't doing it to make a point. Like, they don't care about that, and it doesn't help anyways.
Here's my warm take too on this. There are other things that go into play here. I mean, none of us know what it's like to have, tens of thousands of people watching us daily, be in a contract, be expected to hit certain numbers, the pressures of keeping those numbers. And like I said, my warm take is probably that there's a lot of insecurity that goes into streaming content that has already been proved to be entertaining, and all you have to do is, sort of show up and make a few jokes along the way. In my opinion, there is a level of transformative content to that. I do feel like it's the lowest form of content. I have done it myself, and I call it the lowest form of content. But the thing is
as funny as like a riff tracks.
Correct. Yeah, you got to be. Yeah.
Like you're
To be fair,
kind of
Elo
like
is in his defense. So
yeah, true. There we go.
That is very kind and generous of you, Lowco. But I guess my point is that, like, I can imagine that being up at the top and having to stay at the top is a constant mental battle. And what are you going to do? And what are you going to, what's the content going to be? Are they going to want to watch me play Fortnite, forever? What am I going to do? How am I going to transition? Everything that we deal with as streamers, they're dealing with, but they also have a mounted amount of pressure. So like I said, I feel like there's comfort in falling back on content, anime, MasterChef, these really general things that a large portion of their audience would love, and just sitting back and chilling,
Now, I want to counter this a little bit, because these streamers that we're talking about have built an ecosystem, a community of React content and relationships. So if you know Pokimane, you're gonna watch that entire group. Hassan, Ludwig, everyone at the top, like they all interact with each other, often IRL. They do a lot of things together, right? Toast, all up there, which creates this like cushion, I think, where you're kind of infallible. Like, I don't think these creators will become irrelevant, because everything they do is relevant. They are the meta. What they do and how they interact with each other, just it is a world. It is it's like a reality show that everyone follows. You look at live stream fails, it's the same 10 streamers, right? It's not really about any live stream fails. It's just people saying things, having it clipped, and then everyone going on there and reacting to those things, the same top streamers, and then people clipping those and then reacting to those things. So, I feel like these top streamers, like, they are in a really solid position to, like, yeah, they can pretty much do whatever they want.
So you're actually hinting at something that I've been waiting for somebody to do on Twitch. The react videos of somebody else doing something on Twitch. There's actually a DMCA that you could pull as a Twitch streamer on somebody reacting to your video.
Oh, yeah.
And nobody's really gone after this yet, because we all kind of look at it as, oh my gosh, it's promotion and that's good, and it's not coming back on me. But as somebody who has I've had videos that I published on another platform stolen and published out there and pirated, whatever. And yes, the company I worked with filed DMCA against those folks. But I'm waiting for when Twitch streamers start DMCAing each other on the reactions. That's coming. And the first time that we see somebody do that against one of the big 10 up there at the top 50 folks that are really profitable, that meta is going to shake up real quick.
Well, you see that in the YouTube, like Keemstar. But that's the thing, is like, here's the thing: is there's unspoken rules on the platform that we all follow, whether it's YouTube or Twitch or wherever you're at, right? And YouTube's unspoken rule is you don't do that. You don't do that. It's a stain on you in the community if you do that. That's established. So, like recently, Keemstar did that to Ethan Klein of H3H3, right? And now everybody is getting on to him they're calling him Snitch Star now, you know. So and that did happen actually with Disguised Toast too, in a joking way. He had his friend DMC. Supposedly. But so the idea is out there. The idea is out there. It's happened. But I think that as creators, it'll be quite a fight pushing through the level of scrutiny you will get from your peers. You know, like I think that accountability will keep most people in line when it comes to that, unless they have a really legitimate claim, which I think would be hard to prove.
And I think it comes a little bit with maturity and age too. Like we all forget, like they're like these are kids basically, like early to mid 20s at best. I mean, I think like so. Like that comes with time and age and like that wisdom and to a certain degree. Because I would imagine I probably would have been on like a lot of these like these streamer sides of being like, yeah, let's fight the DMCA in my early 20s, and I probably would have spoken up about that too. But like seeing it as now like a little bit removed from that, I just kind of like see them as just, I'm sorry, does this like it just like you like you're not thinking about what kind of an impact you're doing, especially with that kind of like the responsibility of having a large audience like that. Yeah, like you're basically training that audience to be able to think that, oh, you know what, breaking DMCA is okay. And it goes back to what you were saying earlier, is that by them thinking that breaking DMCA is okay, or oh, it's fun to get banned for like 24 hours or 48 hours and then coming back stronger than ever, and someone else does it and it's a smaller streamer and then they get copyright striked and they're banned, that hurts them. It hurts a smaller and kind of mid-tier streamer than anyone else at the top. And so what it really comes down to is that they're not setting the like a proper example. Now, that again, it could come with age, or like but they're not taking that like responsibility seriously. And I hate to use the quote because it's said so often, but it totally makes sense. With great power comes great responsibility, and they have not learned that yet.
Yeah, and if you do want an example, very recently there were a couple of streamers that were banned for saying a certain word, and the contracted streamers came back. Yeah. Just throwing that out. If you think that what I'm saying or with the things that I'm saying are, you know, outlandish, no, it's happening right in front of us. It happened recently. Some of them are gone. All of them are gone that aren't in contract.
So
yeah, but also as well, it's like they could just easily jump to another platform, and they're
not to say what they did was it was totally justified to do so. But like but like the point is you know, like not everybody's treated the same on this website.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely. So
right, I think that's something we've all kind of we've quietly acknowledged, is that we're not all the same. And if I, as a small to mid streamer, can create some drama that gets me noticed, well, heck yes, if that helps catapult me up towards contract range.
So let's talk about the Disguised Toast situation, because that was a whirlwind. So, you know, the TLDR is Disguised Toast got banned for streaming Death Note, you know, just after Pokimane already got banned for doing the same thing. He's like, I want to push it to the limit, so he streamed Death Note, got banned, and then he said, oh, well, I guess I'll see you in a month. And everyone freaked out and was like, oh, he got banned for a whole month, Twitch is taking this seriously, like, and then you know, he was just trolling. It was only 2 days, just like Pokimane, even though he did it, you know, right after she got banned for it, you know, trying to test things. So you know, I wanted to just talk about like what you guys felt about this, because he's claiming that he did it to try to scare streamers and teach them a lesson. But you don't really do that when you just give up the fact that it was all just a prank, right? You're like, okay, well, Twitch doesn't care, and I guess I'll just keep doing it.
I'll just say one thing, real quick, is it just reeks of, it's just a prank, bro. Like, Sorry, no, go ahead.
I was going to say, Steve, can we give a little bit of credit here to Ms. Lowco having almost a stopwatch to the minute of when Toast was going to be admitted back to, like, literally, you were maybe 30 minutes off, maybe. I mean, you had it
2-day
down.
ban, just like exactly like Pokimane, like 48 hours. That's it. Like,
I agree with you, Steve. It's just a prank. It's just, Toast is, if you look at the content that he's created over the last how many years, he was streaming on Twitch while he was under contract to Facebook. Like this guy, he walks the very fine line between the various platforms. He's got a ton of YouTube content out there. He's going to continue walking that fine line and pushing buttons because that gets him noticed.
Yeah, and he actually just signed with Twitch like recently. It was only a few months ago, I think, when he signed, a similar contract. It's interesting because he actually said that the contract offer that he got from Twitch was crap, but he did it because he likes Twitch. He wants to come back anyways. So, I wish that Twitch would actually, like put their foot down and teach the streamers a lesson, but they're just not going to do that. As Elo said, there is a disparity, and they're just not going to do that with the streamers that are on contract.
And to the rest of the panel, I want to ask you, I'm a big sports fan, pro sports.
Fines?
I was going to say exactly that, Elo.
Yeah.
If there was
I've been thinking about it. I
if
know
there
where
was
you're
a
going.
public disclosure, somebody in pro hockey or football or baseball or basketball, if there's a drug violation, if they mouth off at the refs or something, they get fined, and it's very publicly disclosed. We as a league do not tolerate this behavior. Is there a similar? And I'm not saying that any one streamer should be fined. Congrats to those folks. They've done a heck of a job to get where they are.
How do we know they're not penalized? Could it be something in their contract?
That could be something that could be private within their contract. I agree. I agree with you. I think fines would be a good solution, but it's also a two-edged sword in that it could basically be against a smaller to mid-term streamer that they can't afford that kind of a fine. I mean, you could make it say, okay, let's have it exclusive to maybe only the ones that have specific contracts with Twitch. I think that could basically help it in that regard. But yeah, I think when you start kind of affecting someone's pocketbook, there's something about that basically is I can't do that. I can't do that anymore. And because it's they are owned in a sense by Twitch. They have that exclusive contract. They can't create. They can create content everywhere else, but as far as streaming wise, they can't go anywhere else. And so Twitch, to a certain degree, kind of owns them, and they're not taking that responsibility even of itself. Again, Lowco, you said it could be privately that they could basically be fined for that. But also in a way, they make a huge amount of money, so to them, does it really affect them as much? I don't know, but I mean, fines could be an interesting idea to build a kind of smarten the F up, as it were.
Yeah, I knew exactly where you're going when you mentioned the sports thing. I've been of the same mindset, and I've been thinking it over quite a bit because it's loaded, right? Who's in charge of, the contract would have to be very, very specific about what the fines are. They have to be very provable because what's to say that Twitch wouldn't, abuse it in their favor.
Right.
There's a lot of things that I don't know in sports how it's governed. What's the governing party that does fines and processes fines and all that stuff? I don't know if they're the same organization that actually runs the league, or I don't know how that works, but it's an interesting idea. I think, honestly, the only way we're going to stop this meta of habitual line crossing is going to be either hitting them in their pocketbook somehow, whether that's fines or some other way, or when one of them absolutely fucking melts to a lawsuit that they're unable to get out of, and they have put themselves so deep into that they have no recourse, just absolutely no recourse. So,
yeah. I mean, I think honestly at this point, Twitch is not going to do anything. They haven't even said anything. I at least thought they'd do a blog post and be hey, by the way, we see this happening. You guys can't. Just a reminder, don't do this. It's against the rules. It's against the law. Please don't. But then, the caveat is they're admitting that there's a problem, and that could get them into serious trouble with the government.
Just in case we're not clear, though, for chat, when we're talking about fines, we're saying specifically for streamers with exclusivity contracts at the top. We're not talking about across the board Twitch penalizing middle to small streamers that
the big partners.
Yes, the very big partners that are different from us because they have $1 million contracts.
Right.
I was so surprised how many people, like literally hundreds of people now, a lot of them were bandwagoning. You know, here's the other thing too that we haven't talked about really is it's very difficult to approach any of these people to have a conversation with them. And if you do it online, you have to like wade through the hundreds to thousands of fanboys that are, L plus ratio plus blah at you, and then the other thing that a lot of people don't talk about is, there's a dangerous element to tweeting and being critical of some of these people, a real dangerous element.
Yes.
When I spoke out against, XQC, I had a bunch of people sending me things saying, hey, you need to be real careful. You need to be real careful. And it's like, but he'll put out on his thing and say, I wish people would stop, sidelining me and just at me and confront me about this stuff is what he'll say. But he doesn't understand that if we were to do that, we would be putting ourselves in great risk. I have a family, I don't want to be DDoS. I don't want to be doxxed. I don't want to be, and the reality is that he's so big. He has so many viewers that some of them are that toxic.
Yeah.
And that's a reality that they refuse to acknowledge. They act like we can just approach them and we can have this like conversation, but it's not true.
I actually had this happen to me with Ludwig. There was a YouTube video that he had made where he was opening up gifts from his audience. And one of them, as a joke, sent him the book Twitch for Dummies. and he basically kind of like he flipped through it and he said it looks like that a 40-year-old or a 40-year-old man wrote this and it's like he tore the book in half on the video. And it's like a joke within his audience that he has these videos that basically like, here's how to be able to be like a streamer and people should follow. Like he says, I've already done like several videos on this. You don't need this book. Problem was though, and I have an issue with that, regardless if it's a joke or not. I have an issue with that because one of my best friends for 17 years was the one who wrote Twitch for Dummies. He wrote, and he's also in his 50s. He streams on Twitch. He loves Twitch. He loves it to death. He's been a part of it, and he's an affiliate, but he's not a partner. He doesn't have a huge audience, but he loves it, and he talks with people on Twitch constantly all the time. And to me, like that was just a very low blow. And I called Ludwig out on it on Twitter. He then apologized via a tweet, but he apologized more in the sense of like he apologized for getting caught. And I received a deluge of his audience basically saying the same thing. It was just a joke, bro. Like you really need a Twitch for Dummies book? And it's like for some people, yes, they can't just learn from a YouTube video. Some people prefer to learn in book form, and that's what those books are for. It's not for the ones that are like what Ludwig was going for with those videos. They can't just sort of watch a YouTube video and be like, oh, I understand all this. That's it. So. I received a lot of negativity from Ludwig's audience about from that, and it was just like it actually put a sour look like to me on Ludwig's towards Ludwig because I actually was a fan of his for a bit, like, just from that alone I was like, nah dude, like, and it just kind of opened my eyes to like his whole friend group. Like I'm like, oh, I like they're roughly basically kind of the same personalities to me, and it just like it kind of tarnishes a lot of the other streamers and like in that specific friend group, and I'm like, good, he's on YouTube, whatever.
Yeah, that gatekeeping. I mean, it's clearly gatekeeping. Oh, if you need a book, we don't want you on Twitch. Come on.
Yeah. So I want to kind of roll into talking about the Pokimane situation that happened with hate raids. Because I think a lot of these conversations are kind of similar, kind of rolls into it about the preferential treatment and, Twitch really only doing things when it's like the big streamers are affected. So, just to summarize the situation, Pokimane was hate raided by another creator called Judion. And he just had gotten Twitch partner, and he's a big creator elsewhere. and Twitch banned him for 14 days or suspended him for 14 days, but then later increased it to a permanent ban. So I wanted to ask you guys, what you thought about the fact that Twitch basically said, hey, it's only 2 weeks, don't do that, till you're gone, period, you're done.
Well, he didn't have a contract.
And Pokimane
That's
does.
the thing. Like, think about this though. He comes to the platform, new to the platform, right? He sees how the big boys are doing it. He does it as the big boys do it, and he doesn't have the contract to back him up. Sorry, you're gone. Like that is to me the most reasonable assumption. If he had a contract, he'd still be on the website. They would have found a way to put him back on. Now, the other thing is that again, we're talking when we spoke about etiquette, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like etiquette between streaming, like unspoken rules and stuff. Listen, I don't know who I need to say this to, but sending raids is not necessarily a good thing. And not only that, disturbing other people's content in any way or using other people's content to create your content or to, like we used to have people who would go and judge other women. They would go to their things. Yep. And they would go, look at this girl. Oh, she's so hot, or she's so ugly, or she's so this and that. From that, we started going, this is enough. And it stopped for a long time. For the most part, it still happened, but we all understood. And I don't think I think that he thought this was in the realm of like, okay to do, and it's just so obviously not for anyone who's been here for a minute,
right? Like he's probably used to YouTube, and that's the same comparison as Twitch is becoming YouTube, where it becomes like just drama feeding and trying to find drama, trying to get that attention. I think it's good that Twitch like put their foot down here. I don't know if they'll stick with it, but here's the big point: is hate raids have been a huge problem to a lot of smaller creators, marginalized creators, women, black streamers for a long time, trans streamers for a long time, especially last year. People have been crying and yelling about these issues, and now Pokimane gets a hate raid and they're permanently banning this person. Like, hello, where is this a new thing? Are we gonna actually take some real action against these people now, or is this just a one-time thing?
So I would have loved to have heard that discussion that happened somewhere between when he received the initial 14-day ban and they changed it. There had to be a discussion that happened there. There was a handler involved, either on his side or on Twitch's side, or maybe on both, and they talked to each other. Something happened there where the one side basically said, then go away. Pokimane has, let's not forget, she has very special status on this platform because she is the face when you install the Twitch mobile application. If she's not happy and she's the first face you see when you open Twitch in the App Store, that's a problem. That's a big problem. So, like it or not, she gets a little bit more protection than the rest of us, even the folks that are contracted. And yes, she's got handlers. There are other folks that are at that contract level that have community managers, handlers, folks that interact and handle these types of things for them. But when you come at them directly, yeah, you're gonna feel a little bit of wrath from some of their handlers and the folks that work with them to ensure they're delivering content. And when Pokimane decides, you know what, I don't want to deal with this and I'm going to cut my stream early, you caught the wrong side of Pokimane there.
Yeah, and besides all that, it's just a shitty thing to do. Like,
yes.
It's just a shitty thing. And I'm
absolutely.
not saying that. No, I'm not jumping off of your point.
with you,
I know that you know that. Like, yes, I'm not. Yeah, I didn't mean to jump off your point like that. What I'm trying to say is like, what am I trying to say? I had a point I was going into, and then I Dory brained.
Sorry.
I felt like I threw you under the bus there a little bit. That's not what I meant to say. I guess the thing is that despite Poki's status, despite how you may feel about Poki, whatever, objectively, I mean, maybe not objectively, but to me, what happened was wrong. Well, yeah. It was wrong. You don't do that to another content creator, both professionally or otherwise. You shouldn't do that. She had every right to be upset.
Yeah.
The last thing you want when you're minding your own goddamn business and you're doing your own stream and you're having your own fun is to have some other clout chaser jump into your chat, ruin the chat experience for everybody, harsh up the vibe. It's like being in the middle of a show and then somebody else coming on stage and, you know, doing their own jokes and doing this shit isn't about you. It's not about you. Like at a base level, you need to respect other people's space, both in real life and on the internet. That's all there is to it. You're the same. It's the same kind of person who come up and like touch people and put their hands on people. It's like, no, you need to just give everybody their space.
Yeah.
The thing that I'm more concerned with it to a certain degree. Yes, I 100% agree. Like that is an extremely shitty thing to do. Don't ever do it to anybody. But the thing is that I'm wondering is this is now like is this going to be the precedent moving forward for Twitch? Or is it going to be a case by case basis? Because right now, yes, as you said, when you come for one of the biggest streamers on the platform, you're gonna you flew too close to the sun there, and you're gonna get burned and eventually permanently banned. The question that I have is Twitch going to enforce this across the board? Now, obviously, we know that Twitch is going to is actually suing the two of the biggest kind of people that started the huge hate raids from last year. But I know that it's a huge problem in and of itself. But so we see a little bit of Twitch kind of like cracking down on this. But it's does this? Is this going to be the standard moving forward, or is this going to be again just a one-off kind of thing?
Yeah.
Twitch only seems to act when they're put pressure on, right? Yeah. Like it seems it's not only time, but like the majority of the time that we do see contracted people banned is when they have extreme pressure, right? What do you think? What do you think, Jeff?
Ello, I was going to say, you're right. The reactionary approach that Twitch has, it still feeds into that mindset that I think they still think they're a broadcast application, and they don't appreciate that they're a social network. It's just instead of broadcasting at 140 characters, we're broadcasting at 1080p. It's the same thing, and just as those other social networks, whether it's Twitter or Facebook or wherever you might be posting content, they will ban you, they will punt you for talking out of line. Come on, we got to enforce this. We got to protect the folks that are the big money makers who are carrying the platform, like it or not. They got to get a little bit of protection. And that kind of feeds into a chat talking a little bit about some other folks stepping in and saying, oh, let me help you out and put in a good word for you. We've seen a little bit of that over the past few weeks from different folks, not just the large partner that's mentioned there who stepped in to try and help out Dijon on this. I think that's how he pronounces his name on YouTube. I saw somebody.
Dijon.
Jadion, I think is how I've heard a lot of people say it. But
I have no idea how to pronounce it.
I think I have the name Ellohime, right? You got to forgive people when they mispronounce it. You know, like if you're gonna have certain names, it's like Steve is pretty. So Jeff,
to be honest, actually, my legal name is Steven, but because it has a PH in there, people think it's Stefan and all that stuff. So
there you go. So even with that, I get Ellohime and Ellohime or Ellohime. It's like whatever. We're close. We know who we're talking about.
Yeah.
But I guess, and I know I keep harping on this. Let me ask you guys a question. Do you feel like this is a symptom of the top constantly pushing the line and breaking the rules, and we're starting to see smaller, medium level content creators, even big content creators, coming to the platform wanting to make their name for themselves and mimicking this behavior? Like the habitual line crossing is not just what the big people are doing, it's what they're teaching the people under them, saying, oh, this is how you make it big, this is what you got to do.
It really is. Again, it's like, I know, I don't like to use the term role model because that can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. I think it's like that's why I like to use, you got to be a good example. You got because what you do as a big streamer affects everyone. You are a very large rock in that pond that when you get dropped, it ripples out and affects everybody, regardless of where you are or how big you are. the thing that it's when you get that big, there is a sort of a mentality that kind of starts to form that like you think you are a little bit untouchable, and you start and like it starts small, like you start to kind of like do things and you know it's a kind of a bit of in a gray area, but like you do it and it's like, oh, there's no repercussions for this. I think I can do it, and then you kind of keep pushing that own line for yourself to the point where. Yeah, you get banned because you're streaming TV content on your stream, and then that's the first time that they've ever had anybody kind of be like, oh, like they kind of push back on, and it's just, it's really and it's unfortunate that basically them learning those lessons. Unfortunately, is going to affect all of us in the long run. And it's not to say that like what they're doing is good or what they're doing is bad either. It's just it has repercussions across the board, and I think that unfortunately Twitch kind of has the issue right now. At least the ones at the top feel like that they are that untouchable, and to a degree, and it's kind of hard to be able to find those good examples. On the platform, I think right now, I think like still the kind of the biggest example that I'm like, okay, I trust these folks is Critical Role, and we know that they're the top earners on Twitch in that sense, but it's also in a way they are also adults.
Yes,
they are the adults
very
in the room.
professional organization.
Exactly, they're very professional in that sense. But it's like when you're kind of in that group, like the XQCs, the Hassans, the Miskifs, the Pokimanes, the Ludwigs, whatever. Like you kind of like I know he's off platform, but it's like you kind of when they're pushing that envelope further. They're ruining the experience for the rest of us. And
let's not forget, there's a Minecraft meta that's gaining speed. Right?
Yes.
There's a bunch of Minecraft streamers that are getting very large very quick on Twitch. And yeah, younger folks who have crossed into the couple hundred concurrent viewers, low 1,000 viewers. What's my next step to grow into that? Steve, you hit it spot on. That's where they're saying this is what's getting folks to tune in. I should do that too.
Well, I mean, it's all at the end of the day, it always resorts to drama and pushing the line. And so I don't really necessarily blame these streamers because they are the ones that are the most successful. They have the most viewers. And it's hard to see a path of like how to be wholesome and not step on any toes and get up there. People love drama. And that's, to me, is just always going to win out is these streamers just testing their limits.
Yeah. So when I think about the Pokimane thing, I think the main conversation has been hate towards women. Right. And I think that is a very prevalent part of what's happening in our space, and it's something that we need to address. But when I look at what he did, do I think that he did that because he hates women? Maybe. But is it more likely that he understands that's a hot topic and he knew that he could push that button and get a lot of exposure? You know,
like clout chasing.
Yes, exactly. When I look at what people do, I try really hard to see their intent, right? You know, could it be one way or the other? Yeah, of course. I just have to reason with the best I can with what I'm seeing. And what I see is that this was a calculated move to drum up more exposure to his Twitch, his stream, and less about hating women. But could it be the other way? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Well, I just think that his motivation was not just to like keep women down. However, I do believe you guys deal with that.
It's tough because I don't know him and I don't know his content and I don't even know the nature of what the raid was. He claims that it wasn't about her being a woman. It was about just he doesn't like her. But, you know, if you're talking about someone who's just trying to clout chase, well, if you look at the top 100 streamers, 3 of them are women and he chose one of them to hate raid. So even if the intent, even if you're not like, I hate women, I'm going to raid Pokimane. Even if you don't like Pokimane, there might be an underlying reason that he doesn't understand himself that could be very well, you know, rooted in misogyny. And I think that's the problem. It's like, even if you come in here and you raid me just because you don't like my opinion about XQC or something, like there inevitably will be people who do hate women that are now encouraged and given an opportunity to take that out on someone like Pokimane.
Yeah. It's really like Jeff said, like it is a very big beehive, right? Yeah. And it's not just like you can poke there's something very special about the beehive that you smack when it's a big female streamer, right? I think the response is much more protected, defensive, you know, like there's a lot. I mean, all of us have communities that will come to our aid, but I think if I had to bet, if I'm a betting man, I would bet that it was a calculated move specifically because she was a woman. Not because she's a woman, but because she knows that there will be more people to defend her. It will cause more of an uproar. He will get the response that he wants.
But did he expect to be permanently removed from the platform as a consequence?
At first, I think he thought he was going to get what every other big person gets, which is a week or
Slap
3
on the
days or
wrist.
whatever.
Yeah.
And he did at first. And then he, like, just something happened in the interim there where they go, okay, well, see ya. You know, like,
Yeah, I think in a way we're gonna have to start, like, we are going to start seeing on not only just on Twitch but on multiple social media platforms that they're going to start kind of cracking down on those who are like part of those kind of like hateful groups, or just because I love what Phil Spencer had said in regards to recently about sort of the Xbox Live platform, and that like he sees it as like Xbox is not a free a free speech platform. And that's. And I, because I saw when I was looking, I saw that I was like, I looked at the discussion around it, and they're right. Like the only people who can really enforce freedom of speech is any government of which country that you're in. Yeah. You being on these platforms, you sign a TOS essentially. Like we all kind of click the agree just to kind of get through it as a step through the sign up process. But there's no guarantee of freedom of speech on any platform. They have the right to be able to kick you off if you step over the line. And I think that we're going to start to kind of see that more and more as these platforms grow. Now, granted, yes, at the very beginning of these platforms when they first launched, like even Twitter, there was no thing in their TOS that essentially had said about anything about freedom of speech or anything like that. That some people even kind of like didn't even have that as a thing that they thought could happen. But now these platforms have grown and matured. They start there's things that kind of started to happen on these platforms that they did not prepare for, that I think they're going to now start to be able to kind of reinforce. And so the whole thing is like, oh, people would say, oh, it's freedom of speech. You're allowed to say whatever you want. Yeah, you're allowed to say whatever you want, but that does not give you the freedom of consequence, of no consequences. And I think that we're hopefully we're now starting to kind of see that in regards to hate rates or just like hate groups in general on multiple platforms, whether it's Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. Like I hope that these companies are basically like, and you could say that's PC or you're getting like it's like,
get out of here, Steve. Get out of here with your
whatever.
With
and
your
I
takes.
understand that there is going to be that element to it. But it's like there are several things that are kind of universal, and like hating Nazis. Or at least Nazis, yeah, that's generally actually a bad thing, and a lot of people would agree with that. So I think it's, in and of itself, we're going to start to see that it's not freedom of speech. You're not free of consequence, and I hope that that's something that will start to kind of change as these social platforms grow and like obviously are making a huge amount of money.
But there's also the weird irony of these folks get kicked off of Twitter or Facebook, and they go over to another platform that they've built, and it's free speech, and they can say whatever they want there. And if you say something against those things that they're interested in talking about over there, they're quick to moderate and punt you from that other platform as well. So it's a two-way street here for some of these folks.
And to just basically close out the segment, I think an interesting facet is Twitch recently released a safety update from their head of trust and safety about what they're doing this year to help, improve moderation and help protect creators better. And so maybe this is Twitch saying, hey, we are actually really going to take this seriously. Maybe this is just preferential treatment. I mean, we'll see. I think the bottom line is that hate raids are still a really prominent problem. Maybe it takes Pokimane getting hate raided to really, show have Twitch actually look at the issue. Sometimes, unfortunately, it takes that, but a lot of smaller creators are affected by this on the daily. So, we'll see if more drastic measures are taken in that regard.
And I say this on my. Go ahead, Steve.
Sorry, I should say this as well. Full disclosure. I am a Twitch ambassador, so that particular article and I believe it was Heather from the Trusted Safety team that wrote it. This is something that actually the ambassadors had a conversation with the Trusted Safety team last year around when this was kind of a big huge thing, and so this was something that they had like, this has been in the works for a while. It's just now that they're able to kind of like talk about it. So that is something that it's not just an instant sort of like, oh, let's talk about this now.
Right.
It is something that they are actively working towards. It's just now it's starting to kind of like roll out.
Yeah.
I loved seeing the off-platform abuse policy.
Yes.
That's a big move in the right direction.
Yes. Yeah, especially with the Roblox Discord thing that just happened. You know, like a lot of people maybe don't know about that, but there was a content creator that was sued by Roblox, like the company, like sued him, it's difficult because he was trying to expose pedophilia within the Roblox community on Discord. They were using Discord as a means of communication. And the abuse wasn't happening in Roblox. So Roblox was able to skirt by because they don't punish outside of their platform. Like, they're not going to take action against even pedophiles. You know, if it's happening on Discord, it's not in their house. So to your point, I do like to hear that as well, because I feel like a lot of other companies are scooting by saying they don't have responsibility because it's not happening directly where, you know, they shit, you know, is basically so.
Yeah, I definitely think it's good on Twitch to take that kind of stance, but let's see if they actually hold up to that. You know, hopefully it's not just all talk.
And I say this on my stream. I'm gonna say it here, like, and I'm very vocal about this. I don't know who's watching this. I don't know who will watch it, but Twitch, please do more about the hate rates. Like, I understand you guys. I'm sure you're having so many talks. I'm sure it's so intricate. I'm sure it's so complex. But like, just please do more. Like, or put more people on or something. Like, please. Like, I don't know what else to say. I see so many people hurting every day on Twitter. I go through my feed. Somebody else is dealing with it. Somebody else is dealing with it, man. And I know what that feels like to have, like, not even as a white cis male, you know, I am not going to experience the level that they are in targeted that they have, right? As targeted as it is. But I will tell you right now that for other reasons I have been targeted, and it does not feel good on those levels. I can't imagine trying to flip on your stream and thinking every day that this might be the day you get another hate rate, you got to deal with another group of things. That is disgusting. Yeah. It's terrible. It truly is. And it's become so commonplace. I think that we get tired talking about it, and I'm not, man. I'm not tired talking about it. Like, I don't care who sees this. Please do more. That's it. That's my message. Do something. Do more. Work faster. Put more people on it. Use that Amazon money, man. Like,
absolutely.
I don't know. Sorry.
No, I mean, it's something that I've talked about a ton, and you know, it's really like we kind of have that responsibility to speak up for people who aren't getting their voices heard. Like, so, you know, Ello, you using your platform, I'm using my platform. I mean, Steve, Jeff, I know you guys use your platforms. Like, you know, we have an ability, and this is the thing, you never see bigger creators talk about this. You know, like, okay, now Pokimane cares about hate rates, maybe, I don't know, but like, this is not a new situation, and we've been yelling about it. And, you know, it's unfortunate that a lot of big creators, because it doesn't affect them, you know, it's not their issue, whatever. But, you know, good on you guys, and for everyone else that continues to speak out about these issues.
How many of them have raids turned off, right?
Yeah.
So, where
man.
mid-level small streamers, we're trying to get more viewers. We're welcoming raids. We want to be positive and encourage and hand off viewers and have a good time together. Like, that's part of what makes Twitch so great and so fun, is collaborating and having a good time together as a community.
Yes.
Whether you're having a panel discussion like this or playing a game or whatever, cooking, I don't know. Yeah, it hurts to see that. Yeah. It absolutely does.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So our last segment for today is just doing a little streaming AMA. So we do have some questions that we've gotten from Twitter. So some really great questions that I think this is such a great panel to answer these. So I'm super excited. Our first question comes from Gal Sal, who asks, how do you define success in this industry? Is it viewership, community, income, or something else that is immeasurable? I want to put the spot on Ello just because Ello is one of the most OG Twitch streamers. I mean, he has undoubtedly experienced success in probably a variety of ways. So, Ello, I feel like you have kind of that, you can look back on your
I've fallen
career.
off, Lowco. I've fallen off. No, I think the answer is the only answer is within the individual themselves. I know it sounds sort of cliche and whatever, but I know it sounds crazy, but not everyone is here to be the next ninja. Some people do this as a hobby. Some people do this as an income, but don't want to be big. Okay, like some people enjoy staying mid and low level and abandoning the scrutiny that all the higher ups get and all that good stuff that comes with it. You individually, if you're going to start streaming, I think it's important to ask yourself why. I think that if you are trying to get into this to be successful and be the next ninja and stuff, I think that's a very difficult mindset to enter with. I think the more healthy mindset would be, let me do this as a hobby. Let me see if I truly enjoy this. And when you start seeing yourself hitting the play button more and more and more, or the go live button more and more, and you're just enjoying yourself, you're just rolling with it. And the people that do show up are enjoying it and interactive and stuff. Maybe you can start thinking about those other levels. To be successful on Twitch is something that really, like I said, it's there's a lot of different definitions for that. I feel very successful on Twitch. I take a very a mental health approach to it. I don't stream as much as other streamers by far. I streamed 900 hours this last year. All right. And I'm able to pay my bills. I have a great community, and I'm more mentally healthy than I was when I was bigger and had like a bunch more viewers and stuff. And I was struggling every day just to shower myself, So, but then you got people like Ko that are just like monsters,
Robots.
right? They're just built for
Robots.
it. They're just robots. He's amazing. He's like, so when you get into it, you can't look at everybody else. You really can't. Your path is your own individual path. What you want to accomplish and your goals are going to be unique to you. And I don't think you should be putting conditions on yourself for success that are indicative only to those and specific only to those people, right? You need to look at what you can do, what you love, what you're passionate about, and put your best foot forward. And as things evolve, and let's say things do get crazy, that you always check in with yourself to make sure that you're still on that path.
Yeah.
Well said. I got to agree with you. I got into streaming and it was, hey, let me write some code. Let me see if I can write some software live online. That's what I do is I teach people about writing websites, building things and figuring out how to advance your technical career. And that was something that I just started doing because, to be perfectly frank, I hated blogging. I hated writing things, and I could do a better job explaining and talking it through, extemporaneous speaking, and it felt right for me. So Ello, in that mindset of, well, what do you want to get out of it? I wanted to see other people either find some of my content or see something that I wrote, an application that I wrote or something, learn something and figure out that next step in that career. And whenever somebody comes back into my stream and says, oh my gosh, Fritz, I saw this thing you were talking about. I did some research and now I've got a new job, or now I got promoted, or whatever it is that happened that improved their living situation. That is success for me. I don't care how many viewers I have. I don't care how many subscriptions I have. Hearing other folks benefit from what I've been broadcasting, my content, that's a win for me.
Yeah, with me, I'm in this sort of like my success is literally a contradiction of terms, because I am, yes, as I say, I'm a Twitch ambassador, but I'm probably the smallest creator, follower wise. As a Twitch ambassador, I'm probably the smallest, even in this panel.
Are you saying this cloud exchange will not be good for me? Is that what you're saying, Steve?
Probably not. No.
Oh, okay. And guys, Corey just got home, so I'm gonna.
But then also, like, I even see, like, I literally, like, this happened literally just yesterday. I have, I had a billboard from Twitter, like that had like a giant building.
I saw that. It was so cool.
Yeah.
What a moment.
And it was was so cool for me, but then I look at the list of the people that they have on there, and I'm just like, you got Simu Liu, you got Megan Thee Stallion, you got
you're
Issa
part
Rae,
of
you got
that
Demi
list.
Lovato, and then me.
You're part of that
just
list.
like,
You're
wait,
up there.
why?
Steve, I'll tell you with what Sacriel told me when I first started getting going, and I was like, oh my God, it's all crazy and stuff. You deserve it.
And that's
You deserve it.
Yes,
I think sometimes people need to hear that. You deserve it. You put in a lot of work. You've been in the space. You're very knowledgeable. You work hard. You know, like you deserve it. So
and I love that, because that was a perfect softball for exactly what I was going to mention. Is that it's you put in, like, you got to put in the work. Like I say all that because, like, if you look at sort of like the when I started kind of gaining success, it was in the past 2 years with it, like since basically the pandemic started. But I've been doing this for a long time. I have been a content creator for like 17 years now, and I'm I'm an overnight success, 17 years in the making. And really it comes down to is that, yes, I agree with both of you. Like you gotta find out the thing that makes you happy and makes you why you want to be a streamer. I started streaming because I like the same best friend I mentioned before about who wrote Twitch for Dummies. He was a Destiny streamer. He loves playing Destiny, and I wanted to play it. And I thought, hey, you know what? It'd be kind of a fun thing to do. Like, what if we both stream at the same time, and we can sort of like, and he can teach me how to play Destiny, and people can watch both perspectives of how I'm kind of like learning how to do it, and he can people can watch it from his channel, and that's where it kind of like snowballed from there. But it took some time. But I also had to realize with myself that I have to do this as you said, I'm not doing this to try to be the next Ninja. I'm not doing this to try to be able to make a living off of streaming, because like we talked about earlier, it is extremely hard to be able to make a livable wage from streaming and content creation. The money I make from streaming and content creation literally just pays my internet bill. The money that I make outside of streaming is the thing that, like, you have to have that other sources of income in order to be able to make a living. I use my streaming and content creation technically as a marketing thing, so I can be able to get consulting gigs for accessibility. And yes, I do and the thing that I also use it, like, that's just to financially and just kind of support myself. What I do, the reason why I do what I do is 100% to promote accessibility in that regard. I'm blind myself, and I want to be able to promote more accessibility in games, and I utilize these platforms to be able to talk about it, because like you said, Jeff, like it really. I'm much better at a communicator via video or through audio than I am written. And I found that YouTube initially and now with Twitch has kind of become that platform where I can be able to talk about it with an audience that doesn't necessarily understand and wants to learn about, like, why is accessibility important in the video game industry, and why does it affect so many different people other than just disabled players. That is a big part of it, but accessibility really kind of touches in on everything. And that's why I do what I do. When I can get someone that comes into my stream that doesn't know anything about accessibility and wants to actively and is curious about it and isn't trolly about it, I will 100% answer them and do it the best way I can. And the way I'm able to communicate that is in simple and easy to understand format. That to me is more like, that's the success for my stream. I don't care about like the amount of viewers I have, the amount of raids I have, the subs, the bits, the followers, whatever. I count a stream a success if someone comes into my stream and asks a curious question about accessibility and I'm able to answer it. That means more to me than anything else. And the accolades I've been able to get, being an Xbox MVP, a Twitch ambassador, and all that, and being an influencer is just a way for me to be able to even spread that message wide. So if you can find that one thing that you're passionate about and you want to be able to do, those should be your motivations than just the numbers and being kind of and doing this to be able to kind of be the next big streamer.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Just to throw one last thing on that too, because I feel like this kind of ties into starting streaming, right? Like getting in a good mindset and stuff. Just do it. Just do it. I know a lot of people get in the mindset of like, I need to have this microphone, I need to have this, and I need to have that. I got to have everything set up because I want to be a big streamer. It's an evolution, okay? We didn't start, when I started streaming, I was looking at my cell phone. Actually, correction. I was trying to find a way to put Twitch chat inside the game so I could see Twitch chat while I play because I only had one monitor. So, okay, that's where I started, all right? And I hit the play button being like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have a camera, but like as you're going and as you're, you may get a camera, you may get a mic, just see if you like it. I think sometimes people build it up in their head so much and they're like, I'm going to do this. And they like, even as like a fallback, like I'm going to do, this is my last shot to be big and that kind of stuff. Don't like try to really negate all those emotions and feelings, everything. Just do it. Like Steve said, if it's your passion, you're going to want to do it. You're going to jump in. You're just going to start getting going,
As Steve said, it takes 10 years to be an overnight success.
It does.
Absolutely.
The 10,000 hours, it truly works.
It's a lot.
Yep.
Yeah, and so, I think to summarize, success, I think you guys said it best. I couldn't say it any better. Like, it does come down to you, and it comes down to setting goals for yourself. And that's, if you can achieve your goals, that will make you successful. I think any creator will tell you that there's no viewer count or, certain threshold for followers or any other stat that you're going to get to that you're like, all right, I'm good now. Like, any of us can tell you, like, you'll always look forward to like the next thing. Like 100 viewers, you're going to want 500 viewers. You get the 500, you're going to want 1,000. Like, so just, feel good about your decisions and getting to where you want ultimately.
I watch the trends. I watch the trends in those numbers. If it's trending down, maybe there's something more interesting that I should be doing instead, or maybe this isn't a good topic that I'm focused on right now. For other folks, it might not be a game that folks are interested in. All right, maybe we shift a little bit and watch the trend, see if it shifts. They're just indicators, relative indicators to how much folks are interested in your content.
Man, I think I disagree. 100 viewers to 3,000, best spot. Anything beyond that, too much. Get out of my stream. I don't want more than that. If it goes over 3,000, I stop the stream. I stop it. All right. I don't want to go any higher than that. That sucks. I want to talk to my chat. I want to get to know a few people. All right. Not all of them, because they're crazy. All of them are crazy.
But with that many.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, I've streamed to a lot of audiences, and I really enjoy 100 to 3,000. Like, anywhere in there, I'm good. I'm in my sweet spot. Beyond that, I'm just like, you're just an entity to me now.
Yeah.
Chat is already sort of an entity, but like then it just truly becomes one thing.
When I stream for work and we're running an event and 10, 20, 30,000 people are tuned in live, forget it. There's nothing that you can do to interact with those folks.
You don't want to read chat when there's that many people. Trust.
No, you don't.
And you got all types in there. All types. I like a curated, quantity over quality. I like to think the people are hanging out in my stream are pretty good folk. Like and that's another thing that I talk about a lot on my stream is like, some people want to fill a stadium. Some people want to run a bar. All right.
Yeah.
Like both of those can be very, very, very powerful, and they can fit a certain type of person. Not everybody wants to be in a stadium. Some people want to be in a bar. There's a lot of charm to having a small stream where you barely have a setup, and people love to get in the ground floor of things and build up with it, so they can say, I was here when you were doing this game, and I was here. Like, there's a lot to be said about that. And some people, we want to set up a bar. We want a nice, small adult community that can have a few drinks and talk about some cool shit.
As a side thing, I know that people like are sort of always wondering. It's like, okay, is it better to be like on the homepage of Twitch? And I don't know what about you folks, but for me, I mean, it's great, but also not so great at the same time. Because I like it's not as great as it's cracked up to be honest. Because you goes into that thing of like you get all kinds of people coming in and jumping in on that chat. Like I think my highest one on the homepage was I think 20,000 at a certain point, and at that point it was just so unmanageable that I could only focus in on just the people that were normally in my community. Like, and I've answered a few other questions, but that it just becomes so hard. And I had to actually have my mods basically kind of be like, okay, feed me questions as I'm playing because I can't see the chat right now.
I've never been able to get on the front page. I've sent in requests a couple times, but haven't landed there yet.
I got really lucky early with that.
Yeah,
Back in
it's
the old
changed
days.
a lot. Like
Yeah.
now it's like you need a whole. I saw someone post like a list of things you need to, basically requirements you need to hit before you can be on it. I want to ask. I want to get in at least 2 more questions here before we take off. I want to ask a question from Holsty, who asked, "Does it ever feel lonely?" And we talked a little bit about mental health. Does it ever feel lonely working by yourself at home, only talking to usernames? If so, how do you deal with that feeling? And I get the question because it's like it's social, but it's not like hanging out with your friends in person, right?
Let me get us started here by saying, even in a setting like this, I'm having a hard time mentally knowing when and when not to enter and exit conversation. I feel like I'm talking a ton. I feel like I'm cutting people off. I feel like because all I do is talk at a camera all day, I don't have the natural breaks in conversation and pauses to insert my own. It's just me talking, So when we get in situations like this, I get very nervous because I don't want to talk over Steve or Lowco. I don't want to do that. I want to insert. So that doesn't quite go into your question, but that's just one small thing about streaming and talking so much and everything, is that you start to find your normal conversations, at least for me, are a little bit harder to manage because I'm constantly trying to hold myself back from, the diatribes that keep coming out of me.
I've worked remotely for my employers for the last 10 years. So I've been in this room for full-time work where the rest of my company is a continent away for better part of 10 years. I've been through 2 companies doing this. So I'm used to just talking at the camera and having that relationship and establishing that relationship, not just with the rest of the panel, but with you folks out there that are watching, the folks in chat. I'm talking to you right now, making that connection. I actually don't feel lonely talking to them because I feel like I can make a connection with them because I speak to them, not just around them and around some of those things. So making that connection and having that interaction, not just on stream, but also over on Discord and other places on social media. For me personally, and I know a lot of folks have been struggling to adjust with this going into pandemic and everybody being quarantined and at home. I get that folks aren't used to that, but for us as streamers, we're already used to that a little bit. But even more so, I'm okay with that. It's hard to learn and hard to make that connection. But absolutely, I need to have, on a regular basis, some connection with other folks. I absolutely went bonkers. I had a week in Vegas in December. I was speaking at a conference. It was amazing to see folks there. But being in the room, Ello, just talking to the camera, I totally get that. I don't know how to fit in conversation. Absolutely. I'm right there with you, especially on a panel with folks that I'm absolutely happy to join for the first time. Trying to find that spot is tricky, but it feels so good when you find it and you get adjusted to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Doing the same thing.
There it was.
Well, the
Guys,
problem
it's
is-
my turn to talk, okay?
Look, let's just
Okay, seriously, shut up. Okay.
pass around the token, okay, one at a time. I mean, the thing is, we all have so much we want to say because we have so much to say on the subject. We're all streamers, so I feel like talking about the pandemic, like things have changed. I think a lot because we're not going to conventions. So for me, it's not that I don't get fulfillment talking to chat. It's more of a loneliness I feel with my peers in the industry. Yes. I feel when I go and I have that in-person time, I feel very fulfilled. But lately, I have, a lot of streamer friends that I now live near that I'm, grateful for. But, I feel very isolated from the industry. And it's weird because I talk about the industry a lot, but I've never felt more alone in this space than I have recently. And I think it's just because I don't reach out to people and have genuine, just normal conversations about anything that's not about like, hey, do you want to do this together? Or hey, like this is a streaming topic. I don't feel like that I can reach out to people. I don't know who is my friend and who is just someone I've been interacting with. And that without in-person communication, I feel like that just whittles away over time. And now it's like 2 years without a convention. I just feel like I don't know who likes me for me or who just is using me.
Go ahead.
I'll say I agree because I think so I live on my own. I've lived on my own for about 10 years now at this point. And so I kind of had a little bit of like a leg up, and just even the working from home aspect. I got, when I said I worked in the radio industry before, I was I got laid off from that industry back in January 2019. So I had and I worked from home from then, and I had a year head start from everybody. And little did I know when everyone started to work from home. So I was like, okay, I was a little bit used to that. So I already had that kind of like sort of virtual conversations with people. And I do I love like when I get to have some like conversations like this, because it's great. I get to meet new people, but then I also get to like talk to people that I know, and it's awesome. I do miss the in-person thing, and it does feel a bit lonely in moments for sure, especially like I definitely feel a lot more of that as like when I kind of like end these conversations, or even when I end streaming, and I'm just like, oh, okay, all right, I'm just kind of on my own, piddling around my own apartment, that kind of thing. I will say that I had the benefit of being able to go to the Game Awards this past December, and it was the first time that since the pandemic started that I got to sort of talk to people. And there's a lot of people that I got to meet there that I had never met in person before, and I've known them for the past 2 years because we've been talking for so long, and but it felt so good to basically kind of, even though we never met in person, feel like that we've known each other for a long time. And it was that kind of like that immediate familiarity, and just like that friendship was already like there, that it wasn't awkward. It was like there was a few times like, yeah, acquaintances that you don't know how you feel, like how they feel about you, or how you like it. So there was that a little bit of that, but it was so, seeing people at the Game Awards, being able to kind of like either see each other for the first time, or just like seeing people that they haven't seen in so long. It was such a great experience. And I'm sad that it didn't really even come across in the Game Awards aspect, because that was such a great moment. And I'm looking forward to finally being able to meet you three in person, and so many other creators that I've gotten to know over the course of the past year. I hope we all get to go to TwitchCon and when if and when that happens. It is tough. It is tough, and it does take a while to kind of like get past that. But I think it really comes down to, you got to have that little bit of like, without I know it's not the right term, but it's like work-life balance. You have to have that balance of being like, okay, there has to be. I know. Like it's something that is hard to do and hard to master. I had to learn the hard way because I was hospitalized at a certain point when I put work to first before my own life, and that was a rough lesson to learn. But it was something that I realized had to sort of set some hard limits with myself, and that there are people that I talk to that are friends with that locally that don't stream and don't make gaming content, and it's great. Like I have so many friends that are like in the wine and foodie friends that I'm just like, I don't know anything about what you're all talking about, but I love the fact that I get to eat some great food and get drunk off of wine with those folks. And it feels so great. So find that group of friends that are around you that are kind of a little bit outside of it, that at least understand kind of what, like, they may not understand the day-to-day, but they at least understand that of what you do and still love you for it. And then just expand your friend group into as many people as possible online, because that can help sort of fill those lonely moments.
If I could be a little vulnerable, I feel like, we're a pretty intimate crowd. I'll be a little vulnerable with you guys. I can feel extremely lonely. Yeah, I think that it's exacerbated because of the current climate that we're in. The COVID everything, and we're isolating. Most of us are kind of built for this in a way. But to echo Lowco's point, I feel sort of alienated on this platform to a degree from some of the people that I used to hang out with. So for those of you who don't know me, I used to stream to pretty large numbers of people. I had severe depression. I backed off. I still stream to a numerous amount of people. They're awesome. I still have a great community. But what I noticed though is it's a very big wake up call to who is interested in you and who is interested in your clout. You find out very quickly when you're averaging 8,000 people as opposed to like 1,000 people, who's not inviting you to things anymore and who's not. you know, and you can look at that and you can internalize that in different ways. One of the ways that I've internalized that is I try hard to to recognize my own responsibility in that. So what I mean by that is, am I reaching out to other creators? Am I creating opportunities to spend time with them? Or do I feel jaded and am I sitting back and going, well, nobody wants to play with me? You know, like that kind of thing, right? So even selfishly on this panel, I don't do this. Like I don't normally jump on talk shows and do panel and stuff like that. Even this was an attempt for me to, you know, reconnect with Lowco a little bit, talk about some Twitch stuff, have fun with a couple of new friends, you know. So selfishly, to answer your question, yeah, I do feel lonely, and I'm actively right now trying to alleviate that in some degree by spending time with my peers and talking about what I love. So I think it's important that we make sure that we're reaching out and we're trying to make connection. That can be very hard, especially when your friends are at a different level than you. Like, even though I am close friends with Co, I hesitate sometimes to ask him to hang out. You know, I love to play with that guy, and we do. You know, like, you know, every few months or something, we'll find some way to interact, to do something. But I even feel intimidation in that regard. So it's even harder when you're trying to reach out to other people and you genuinely just want to chill. You know, and again, it becomes this cloud exchange that I was joking with Steve about. You know, so. Yeah, it's you find out quickly who your friends are and who they aren't, I think, when you're working through this. And I think that you have to participate as well. You have to a lot of people are feeling lonely right now, and a lot of people are in their own space. So
I'll just chime in and kind of put a bow on the end of this, that I hear a little bit of what you're saying there, Ello, in that where I'm geographically, I'm in around Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And at our last regional Twitch community meetup, I learned that there were only 3 partners in the region, and I was one of them. And it's like, okay, there's a level of Twitch community that isn't happening in this geography. And when I do show up at a meetup event like that, thinking, oh, I'm going to wear my partner jersey and hang and see some of the other partner folks, some of my peers, and talk with them, there aren't any. There's folks that are just trying to get into this, and there's folks that have been streaming for a long time that absolutely I want to hang out with and hear more from and help them and try and get them leveled up on their thing. But yeah, streaming community wise, in some geographies, it's just not there. And that does feel a little bit lonely, because I can't have that streaming conversation with folks that are, you know, a 10-minute drive away, 15-minute drive away. I got to go a good distance away to the next city in order to find them.
Yeah.
So. And there's nothing there's nothing, like you guys were saying, there's nothing better than in person, right? Yeah. It always feels, I really, the lack of conventions, Lowco, I'm feeling it, man. Like, even just like casual networking, you know, like just like being able to have a dinner, you know, and just chill and have a few beers. Like, it always felt like this time that we had to like take a little break and spend time with each other outside of all of this, even though it was happening sort of at the heart of it, you know? So I truly do miss that. I truly do miss just hanging with people. And I even feel that like maybe some of my more estranged relationships wouldn't have been that way if we had a little one-on-one time once or twice a year, you know? Yeah. So, you know, some people just simply move on. It has nothing to do with your accounts.
Yeah. That's why I feel like that I am so looking forward to seeing like TwitchCon and people actually, like, or at least conventions, and kind of like seeing people again. I feel like it's going to be like the most wholesome get-togethers to be like, oh my God, I've missed you so much. Like, it's going to, like, that's why I felt at least at the Game Awards to a certain degree. And so I feel like we're going to get back to that again. Yeah. And I feel like that's going to help a lot with our mental health in that regard. And I feel like I've been in similar situations myself, and it just and even same with you, Jeff. I know there's a few people in, like, I live in Toronto, so I know there's a few people kind of like in this area that are partners, and there is a Twitch community here. But I just haven't been able to interact with them as much as I wanted to, or even get to hang out with them in person. Like literally a friend, Ashley Roboto. She lives about like 30 minutes away from me, and yet we've never met in person. We've only kind of talked to each other virtually, and so like even then, that's aspect. It's like yeah, I'm looking forward to the day where we can actually be able to be like, okay, let's all have gatherings again. Let's get together again. Cause it's I think that's the thing that we are all missing at this point, even though virtual is great, being able to talk with folks is awesome, via camera. And as Twitch streamers, we're used to that at this point. But I think this also affects other people who aren't streamers like this even more so. And it's like being able to interact with being able to only interact with my family via FaceTime is hard. Seeing my nephews growing up via FaceTime is hard. And I'm really looking forward to being able to get together. But it's something that it's also okay to ask for help and to find ways to be able to kind of find the way. Like I'm not a therapist or anything like that at all, but find ways to be able to get help, because we're all gonna have to get through this at some point, and it's just a matter of time. But also, you have to kind of learn for don't go go down the road.
Right.
Yeah, you can't wait. Exactly.
Steve's a therapist guy. He's credited. He has
it's right.
Hey,
Steve, thank you for your expert opinion.
Of course.
Listen.
I'll bill y'all later.
The first conference I was at, tech conference I was at, coming out of pandemic here, the hug meta was strong. It was great to just to be able to see our friends, touch our friends, and the hugs were very welcomed at that. So
Yeah.
get consent first, friends. Get consent before you hug. But yes,
Absolutely.
the hug meta was strong.
So yeah, with that, I think this is a great stopping point for today's show. I want to thank all three of you for joining me today. My goal is to do more of these, throughout the year, usually Wednesdays at this time, to really kind of, to me, one of you mentioned it, but with Ello deciding to come on here and us being able to reconnect and have these conversations and talk about things we have in common, to me, this is a really fulfilling thing to do. So thank you for joining me. And if you don't mind, let's go through and shout yourself out and get that clout, time to exchange the clout. Jeff, let's start with you.
Oh gosh, so I am Csharpfritz. You can find me over there writing software Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays on that channel. And can I mention the project I'm working on?
Yeah.
Lowco, do you mind? So I'm working on a little project that helps makes Twitch clips more discoverable called KlipTok, KLIPTOK. You could search for some of your favorite streamers there. It's an opt-in basis right now. We're in a beta mode. But you can search for streamers, they can opt in, and we'll start indexing and making their clips available for you to search for, to find in a very similar to other social media website, being able to scroll through and see video. But you can find me speaking at a couple conferences coming up in Las Vegas and Knoxville, Tennessee in April. Thank you so much for having me on.
Awesome. Steve, what about you?
You can be able to find me here on Twitch. BlindGamerSteve is my Twitch handle. You can also find me on Twitter at Steve Saylor. That's SAYLOR. And you can find me on YouTube as well, youtube.com/snowball. Like I said, I created that account in 2005. That's why I was able to get that URL. As far as things coming up, I'm starting kind of to stream again, because I have been able to do that with. I got COVID at the beginning of the year, so that was fun.
Glad you're better.
Not really in that sense. But then I'm going to be streaming more regularly, and as well, actually, I'll be. As of tomorrow on the official Twitch gaming channel, I will be starting my month residency hosting the weekly
Nice.
there.
Oh, that's great.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Very
we're gonna
cool.
have some fun. We're gonna interview some folks and get to showcase some cool games and stuff like that. So feel free to come on out. That's on Twitch Gaming at 11 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern, and I'll be hosting for the next 4 weeks. So I'm excited for that.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
And Ello, what about you?
Hello, everybody. I'm Steve. I'm a accredited psychologist. Sorry, I don't know why I'm stuck on that. You can my name's up here if you want to find me. Twitch.tv/Ellohime. Everything goes off of there. And I guess the last thing I'll say is, Twitch sign an exclusivity contract with me. I really appreciate it. Thank you. That's all I needed to say. No, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. And thank you, chat, for hearing my rants. Appreciate it.
All right. With that, I'm going to basically switch over to say bye to them. I'll be right back in just a sec, guys. And we'll wrap up here.